Okay, welcome to day 4. More better golf. Today's all about balance. You're gonna need some weights in your golf club, of course. Probably a towel, maybe need something to drink. Just be prepared. We're gonna have a similar pattern to the other workouts where we're gonna do 18 reps of things. It's a little different balance workout than you're probably used to. So I got different weights here. I got light weights, 5-pound weights. I got 10-pound weights. I got 12-pound weights. I got my golf club. But the workout's a little different in the sense that we're going to work on balance while we're doing other things. So let's get warmed up first. Raise the arms up overhead, drop down into a squat, trying to keep those arms as far up and back as possible as you get your butt lower and lower. Work on that flexibility to get the arms overhead. It's a tough one for a lot of us. Arms are going to want to stretch forward as we get lower. You can go as low as you want in that squat depending on your own flexibility. All right, squats done. Let's move on. We're going to go a little bit sideways. So get the feet nice and wide, hands on hips, and just lunge out to one leg, bend one, keep the other straight. You want to drop your hip on the knee that's bending, like you're sitting on a chair or a stool on that side. Trying to keep your knee from drifting too far forward. Should feel a good stretch on the inner thigh, that straight leg. Trying to keep that upper body good posture even as you tilt forward just a little bit. Next, let's stretch out our hammies. Do a little swoop. Kick the leg out, swoop through, all overhead. You want to feel a good pull as you drop down. Again, you want to feel like your butt's going towards a stool. Don't want it dropping straight to the floor. You want it to go back a little bit. We want to get a good pull up the back of the thigh on each side. Just get them warmed up and ready for all the other fun stuff we're going to do. So we're going to use a lot of those stabilizer muscles for balance, but we're going to play with it a little bit. Now we're going to rotate and push. Kind of that golf swing motion, but just reaching out with the arms, like you're trying to push the wall away. Pivot over one foot. If you don't got space, keep your arms close and just rotate through your upper body. Okay? Warm up should be done. If you feel like you need to warm up more, do it. Otherwise, we're going to hit the front 9, get into our first set. All right. I would suggest starting light with all this stuff. Go with the lighter weights if you need to. If you feel like it's too heavy, you can always drop down. So we're going to get on one foot, get ourselves set, and we're going to lift one arm up and alternate, keeping the elbow straight, thumb up towards the ceiling. I want to keep your stomach muscles tight. So we're going to get 9 total lifts, so 5 on one arm, 4 on the other, and then we're going to switch legs. If you feel like it's too hard to switch legs through, you could do one leg first set, do your 18 lifts. We're not trying to go past shoulder height either. And as you feel yourself wobble, that's good. We want to feel a little bit of wobble. Wobble tells us we're challenging that balance, which is so important for a nice, smooth golf swing. All right, alternating front raise done. We can grab something a little bit heavier. And again, heavier, not super duper heavy. Okay? And we're going to do a weighted march. So you want to keep your posture the same. Now we're moving our legs instead of moving our arms. Tight in the middle. You want to feel like if somebody only saw you from the waist up, you'd see barely any motion. Just hip height with the knees. Don't need to drive them higher. Most people are going to be tight enough. If you try to get higher than that, you're going to start moving your lower back more than you need to. We're going to get 9 on each leg, so alternating back and forth, 18 total. And if you feel like that's too light and you want heavier weight because you're not moving your arms, that's okay too. But starting with lighter weight is always a good idea. And this first week of these workouts is all about kind of laying the foundation so we can make it harder for the second week. All right, make sure you got enough room reaching out to the side. And we're going to go heel toe. So this is called tandem stance. And we're going to lift one arm and then the other. So now we're going to challenge our balance from left and right. So you want a weight that's lighter than you would use if you were doing just this lateral raise or shoulder abduction motion. Because by getting your feet lined up like that, it's definitely going to make it harder. You get 9 total, again, 5 on one side, 4 on the other, and then you can switch feet, one front, one back. And do your best to keep tabs on which arm you left off with. But you want to feel, again, midsection stays tight, everything staying as steady as possible. That wobble you feel is controllable. You don't want to feel like you take big steps or anything crazy like that. So it should feel like you're challenged, but in a good way. Now we're going to do a little dynamic balance. We're going to do a side-to-side little jump. So this is a version of a skater. I don't have a ton of space here, so I'm taking kind of a small, easy jump. Now if you had more space, you could go further, make it harder. But again, week 1, first set of doing this in this workout, we're just kind of getting things ready. When you step or land on that foot, you should feel like you can control it. If somebody said freeze, you could hold that position for a few seconds. If you feel like your balance is shifting too far over it, slow it down, make it smaller. Okay. First set done. I'm going to repeat all that stuff. On to set number 2. So make that decision. Is that the right weight? I'll stick with the same weight. If you felt like it was too challenging, go lighter, too easy, go heavier. So get set on one foot, alternate a front raise with the thumbs up. You can slow it down if that means that your balance is going to be better. Don't want to get too fast with this though. We want more control than anything. Balance is all about endurance. We're trying to make things work for us over a long period of time. And we want these various forces that we're applying to it to make us ready for everything, but really for the purposes of these workouts. It's all about for playing golf, really. So as we swing our arms around our body, whether we're on a nice flat surface like a tee box, or we're somewhere where we don't want to be, that's a little bit sloped, we can still keep our balance. So now we're going to march with those heavier weights in each hand. And if you feel like this is too much challenge for your balance, you can always go a little lower and see if that makes a difference. Plus, you also want the rest of your body to be able to adapt. As you add more weight in your arms, it also adds stress not just through your arms itself, but all the way through your spine too, that extra force compressing down through your spine. If you've got any existing back issues, make sure that you're being respectful of the rest of the body too. Okay, done with that one. 2 more to go on this front 9. So again, we're going to go lateral. Check your space. Make sure you're not going to smack anything on a wall or a window or whatever else we're working out. 1 foot in front of the other, little bend in the knees, and then alternate arms, lifting sideways. Palms are facing down on this one. We're working the deltoids in our shoulder, we're working our rotator cuff, but we're really trying to work that stability, balance component. And that stability and balance, I mean, they kind of overlap each other for sure. It's holding things in place while other things move. So if it was too tough to lift the arms with weight, get rid of the weights. Just do your arms. Arms are weights. We just don't think about that because we're used to moving them around. If that's too much, just get in this tandem stance position and hold it. Maintain that position. Okay, we're going to do our kind of sideways jump, our modified skater jump. Get yourself set, push off, absorb the landing. Try not to run into walls. So since I'm doing all these workouts in this hallway in my house, obviously you don't need a lot of space. I'm gonna about 6 feet of width here. So anything that needs more than that, I can go diagonally or lengthwise in the hallway. Again, you gotta have enough space to swing a golf club. Okay, got through all those exercises. First and second set done. Now we gotta get ready for the next thing. We're gonna swing a golf club. So something that you can swing in your house, you get space for. I like to use something kind of mid or lower. It can be 7, 8, 9 pitching wedge. Gives me enough club to swing, but also I'm not going to hit the walls. The other thing too, if you're concerned about you're going to accidentally get a little too low and hit your floor, you can always put something down, or do this in your garage. Outside, if the weather's nice, is a great way to do this as well. But we're getting 18 swings, 18 quality swings. So if you got to slow it down, make those swings higher quality. Work on those aspects you need to work on. Plus, this is putting it all together. Every time we go through and do this section of a workout where we swing a club, we're taking all these components from our rotation workout, our stability workout, our power workout, this balance workout, and the flexibility workout, and we're putting them together in what we want to do, which is have good swings that end up equating to good golf. It's hopefully not just good golf, better golf. It's going to keep your heart rate up too. Swinging a golf club over and over again without rest breaks can end up getting you into that kind of cardio zone. A lot of times people don't think golfing is that much activity. But as those of us that golf know, that's not true. If you walk 9 holes, you walk 18, you carry your clubs, you push them, you're swinging, practice swings, plus actually swinging to hit the ball, you're getting a lot of movement, physical activity. Okay, 18 swings, done. Made it to the halfway point of the workout. Now we're going to move on and get to the back 9. So again, we're going to tinker with our workout here. We want to make sure that we're challenged. We're going to start light. So again, we're going to get a weight in each hand, get on one foot. Now we're going to get up in this kind of goalpost stance and rotate one in and then the other. We want our elbows a little lower than our shoulders, so we're not right up at the same height. Now think about that upper arm as our axis. It's kind of pivoting through. We're going to switch halfway through so we get 9 total, 5 on one arm, 5 on the other, and then we'll just switch legs. And again, if you want to stay on the same leg for the first set, switch to the other leg for the second set. That works better for you, that's fine too. We just want to get enough repetition to start making changes. Okay, now that we got that part done, we're going to do a little single leg forward bend. So let's get your balance on one foot. We're doing kind of this modified, what they call a good morning. It's kind of like a deadlift or a hip hinge motion. Back stays straight. Got the hands behind the ears if you want. You can put the hands down low. But as you lean forward, you get a little bend in the knee, maybe 15 degrees plus or minus. Hips go back just a little bit. You're working on balance as you move that upper half of the body. And again, we can do 18 in a row on one side for the first set, 18 in a row on the other side for the second, or we can switch at 9 halfway through. And we've all got one leg better balance than the other. So if you are on your more wobbly leg, take it slower. See if you can allow yourself a little extra time to be able to adapt. And there's definitely some reasoning to spending extra time working on balance on the leg that needs it more. There's a reason there's a difference between the two. We use the leg that has better balance for more balance activities in life. Okay, 2 exercises on the back, 9 down, 2 to go. Again, we're going to grab some lighter medium weights. I got 10 pounders. We're going to get into this tandem stance position. Okay, now we're doing a little alternating tricep kickback. Nice seamless video transition there too. So we're alternating arms, and we're going to switch feet front and back halfway through, 9 on one side, 9 on the other. Just like when we were lifting sideways. We want to keep our back nice and straight. So as we extend our elbow, we're not rotating through our torso. We're just kind of keeping it real nice and still with that little bend in the knee. All right, weights down. Now we're going to do a little bit dynamic jump forward, jump backwards. I want to plant, push off. Ooh, that was even more seamless. Every time you land, you want to absorb the shock. We'll do 9 going towards one foot and then switch 9 towards the other. There should be a little pause every time you land there. That's that balance component. Land, balance, land, balance. And again, you can have a bigger jump if you want to. Got more space involved. But you want to feel like you're not stepping on a cat. And going back and forth. If you feel like these are easy, you can do 18 on each side too. They go pretty quick. Something that progression down the road could involve holding on to something weighted in one hand, both. Could work a little bit on that dynamic balance with a little extra effort. Okay, made it through first set of the back 9. Moving on to the second set. It was the last section of the workout. Gonna need some weights to get back on one foot again, and we're gonna get into that goalpost position. Then we're gonna alternate internal rotation to external rotation. Again, we're gonna do 9 movements for the arms while on one foot. We'll switch it up, get on the other leg. Lighter weight's definitely better. You don't want to stress and overwork those muscles of your rotator cuff. With big heavy weights, we need kind of the lighter work on endurance, stability. We can do this without weights too. A lot of people, that would be totally fine. Really common to have shoulder issues for everybody, let alone golfers. All right, gonna get on one foot. We're gonna do our hinge forward, back up, good morning exercise, a little wobble. Wobbles are good. Wobbles mean you're challenging. If you don't wobble, if you don't feel effort, it's too easy. You can lower those arms if that feels a little bit better. Maybe you don't like that arms up, hands behind the head position. Totally fine. Different ways of doing things. And you can even have your arms straight out in front of you next to your head, kind of in an overhead reaching position as you hinge forward too. So there's all different ways to do it. Kind of keeping this more around the middle. Good way to start this motion. That is too difficult on one foot. Let's say your balance feels too wobbly to do that. Put that other foot down on the floor and get them real close to each other. Narrow your stance. That can make things more challenging as opposed to being hip width or shoulder width. We're just playing with the base of support. One foot obviously is a smaller base of support than 2 feet on the ground, but width of the feet is the other way that we can play with that variable. You want it to feel like your spine staying straight. Pivot down and hinge, back up. When you get back up to standing, you even can squeeze through that glute of the stance leg as well. All right, gonna get our weights. Gonna get back into that tandem stance position. Hinge our bodies forward, bring the elbows up. Sure, straighten the elbow, alternate sides. Back and forth. Keep those core muscles tight and keep checking on that. Any of the workouts that you do for anything, whether it's these or other workouts you like, tighten up those tummy muscles. You feel like that whole ring around the middle from your ribs to your pelvis is firm. Still can keep breathing, kind of your normal breathing in and out. But you want to keep things stabilized. You're training things to be stable when you don't want to think about it. This is your time to think about it. Okay, done with that one. Get those weights out of the way. Now let's magically jump into a different outfit. Boom. Backward, forward, forward, backward. Absorb that shock. And, you're going to have days where your balance doesn't feel as good. You feel more wobbly. And other days where you feel like just rock solid. That's normal too. It just varies day to day. That push off and landing. Think of a shock absorber every time you land. Going onto that back foot a lot of time is a little bit more challenging. To absorb the shock is just kind of a different thing to do when you can't see where you're going to land, especially if you got a pet walking behind you. But start small at first. Even if it's just a step, it's not even a jump, it's just big step, pause, big step, pause. Get everything used to that kind of motion. We got this front to back one, the front 9 we did side to side. Definitely going to be able to progress these as time goes by, but we need that static and dynamic balance component. Okay, totally crushed it. Now we got some swings left. Then we're going to cool down. So find your golf club. Make sure your space is nice and clear. Check what you need to check. Okay, first one can even be kind of a test to make sure you don't smack something that you're next to. But again, quality swings, that's the focus. We're not actually hitting a golf ball here, but we can definitely go for quality. We need that high quality for every swing that we take. Because there's definitely benefit to swinging the club if you're not thinking about how you're swinging it just to work on, again, flexibility, balance, rotation, power, stability, all these things each of the workouts address. But why not take an extra moment and make it a really good swing? Make it the swing you'd be happy about if you were playing golf. It'll help reinforce good habits, kind of groove that movement pattern so you have to think about it just a little bit less. Plenty of things to think about when you're golfing, so let's turn the brain down a little bit when we don't have to have it firing so hard. And you can focus on all the physical parts of it. You can just feel confident and comfortable sitting over the ball going, you know what? I'm going to hit this right where I want to. Or at least close to where you want to. You can reset your feet as you need to depending on how much foot action you get. Some people are minimal foot action. Other golfers get a lot of movement in their feet. They're kind of dancing all over, and that's what works for them. If you can get the ball from the tee into the hole in as few shots as possible, and it's working for it, it's good. Okay, got our swings done. Moving on to the cool down. So now we're just going to try to address some of the muscles we just worked. By no means are these all the stretches that would be good for you, but it's just a little small amount. And if you feel like you've got things that are tight on you that you need to stretch consistently, you can stretch it every day. That's all good. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get kind of in a big, long lunge position. Drop down till we get a little stretch across the front of that back hip. Lower if you need to, and then we're going to pull the arm across the body. We did some good shoulder work with this. We're going to pull, squeeze the cheek on that back leg. That'll help drive the hip forward and get a little more stretch. As you pull the arm across the body, You should feel like you get a little stretch on the back part of the shoulder into the shoulder blade. You can rotate your trunk a little bit. We've got muscular attachment from our scapula to our spine, from our scapula to our humerus, from our scapula down to our rib cage. So all that stuff, I want to stretch it out. Okay, done with that one. I'm going to try a little balance stretch. So we're doing a little figure four in standing. Now, if this doesn't work for you, you can totally lay on the floor and cross your legs, but as you get one ankle on the other knee into that figure four position, you want to sit and try to push your butt down of the hip that you've got the ankle crossed on top of the other leg. You're just trying to sit into that stretch. Your back should stay straight. You don't want to hunch into it. And you can hold these longer for sure. If you feel like that's a really good stretch for you, great. Now let's get the side of the body, the triceps, worked all that, cross the legs, bring the arm overhead, lean to the side with the elbow bent, just pull. Should get a stretch from the elbow down the side, down to the hip. Get a big long section of the body. You want the leg behind, same side as the arm that's being stretched overhead for your tricep. You want to keep your posture straight too, again, not hunching forward. Now we can cross the legs, reach for the toes. So reach for the toes of the leg that's in the back. That front leg is helping to keep that back leg straight because most people tend to get a little cheaty with the back knee bending. It's not on purpose, it's just our bodies want to find the path of least resistance, and that's the way to do it. This one you can let your spine round forward. You can drop your head if you want to get stretch all the way up and down. Or you can keep your back nice and straight. You'd be up a little bit taller. You did it though. Good work. Come back and check out the last workout. It's done. Flexibility. It's workout number 5.